My name's Kevin Wanner. I got this build of the Black Gate of Mordor from Lord of the Rings, and worked on it for about a year or so, starting out with the gates, and then slowly expanding the wall out, working on the mountains, and then building up the tower and working on the next tower.
Okay, and this is really great. I love what you've done with the towers and the gate and everything. You want to show a few of your favorite details in the build here, maybe?
Yeah. So one of the things that really helped on this build is I have almost 1,100 of the minifig stands that are snotted out that I used for all of the wallings on here, and that was a way to cover a lot of space without a whole lot of expense. Most people don't have much of a use for those, and so I found those and was able to just buy a bunch of them and slide them on there. So I was able to cover a lot of wall space there, trying to cover space but keep the costs down.
And real quick, for people who aren't familiar with the term snot, you want to explain what that technique is?
Yeah, so snotting is studs not on top. So in this case here, I've got them facing both forward and backwards, but the edge of the piece is facing up, not the studs that you normally see up there.
Yeah, and that allows you to have, stick those pieces on there, but still have kind of the flat tile look with the.
Right. I didn't have to use tiles to keep the sides smooth, but still had chances to put the ridges on there with a thin row of studs.
Okay. Very cool. And what other cool techniques or cool parts of the build do you like to point out?
So I kind of common, but I like all of the random slope pieces used in the rock work. Just kind of angling them a bunch of different ways to get a little bit more organic feel. Not using the big single pieces that Lego has a tendency to make, because when you make something big, you get a lot of patterns of, you can see the patterns of the large pieces.
Right, what are those, the burps, the big ugly rock pieces?
Yep, the big ugly rock pieces, the burps. So then, aside from that there, I've got the joke for this show here is I am from Portland, Oregon area, and the show's up here in Seattle, Washington. So I have replaced the Dark Tower of Barad-dûr with the Space Needle. Have put the Eye of Sauron on top of the Space Needle of Seattle. Realized that kind of made Washington the bad guys, so I went ahead and then gave the good guys the carpet of PDX Airport for their flag, just to make Oregon look like the good guys. But all that said, Washington's great. Had a lot of time at the show, and have had a lot of people enjoy the fact that I put the Space Needle in there. It's been fun.
Yeah, that's really neat. And were these towers on the sides, were those difficult to do, kind of building high like that? Was that hard?
Yeah, the biggest challenge with the towers, there's a couple of challenges. First off, because of the trying to make them curved, there's 16 sides to them, and only 4 of those actually attach to the base plate. The rest don't attach because they don't fit up with the studs. And so then once I got that, I got a whole bunch of hinges in there to try to keep them from moving. But then I've got basically another tower on the inside of a bunch of random colored pieces that supports the top half of the tower. The towers separate right in half for transportation. They separate right there, and I can just slide it off. It's not actually even attached, it just sits there. And then that allows me to transport it, but I had to build another tower on the inside to support the top half of the towers.
Yeah, that's really neat. And were there any kind of tips or techniques you learned as building this that you would give advice to other people that are like cool ways of building that people might be able to use in their own builds at home?
Let me see here. Little on the spot with that one. Using the minifig stands like I did on the wall, that was I've started to see them being used more now, but at first people had a hard time using them, so just kind of coming up with that good part use, that original idea A lot of people complain that there's so many specialized pieces with Legos now that it's eliminating creativity. But I feel like it's kind of almost giving you more options on how to be really creative. I saw a micro build of Golden Gate Bridge using hot dogs for the suspension cables, and it's just brilliant. You know, it's like one of those things that's designed for one purpose, but you can use it for all sorts of stuff. So finding the piece that you can do, and then this is something that I worked to try to make it as big as possible, but as least piece intensive as possible. So like, I mean, all the mountains are hollow. Towers are mostly hollow, you know, just some added support beams. The walls are completely hollow, and just trying to build stuff light so that it doesn't have as much weight, you know, so it don't need as much support.